Greater Good Radio. Connect, learn, heal, and grow.
So Disney came about after Marriott, or?
After Marriott, yeah. They came in when I was at Marriott. We were just coming out of the recession. I think it was 2010. And I was at the Marriott Hawai there, and a headhunter called and said, hey, listen, we're looking to fill this role at this new property that we're opening on Oahu. I had no idea about it. And I said, oh, you know what? I literally just came through the recession. I just had my daughter. I just finished building a house. And Kauai, to me, just like the Big Island, was like heaven, right? I had one of the great surf break in front of me. I had 2 golf courses, beautiful resort, awesome team. And I could have stayed there for 5 years or whatever, right? And so I passed on it. And 2 weeks later, he calls me again and says, I really want you to really consider. And he kind of went down the path of and told me a little bit more about the project. I always looked at Disney as an entertainment company, which they are, right? And not so much a hotel company. And so, I passed again, and he called me again a third time, and I said, listen, you sound like a really nice guy. I really would love to help. He said, if you could introduce us to some people on Oahu that might be interested. We're having a tough time, finding somebody that we want to bring on. So I said, sure. So I flew over there. I met with the development guys running the place here, Dewan Rivers, and we kind of talked about, who was in the market and who were good candidates that I thought would be good candidates that I knew personally that we could approach just to help them out. And he says, oh, well, let's take you through the whole hotel, because I never really dipped into the whole thing, exactly what they're doing, right? Kind of just dismissed it as, because Marriott was like, I'm going to move all over. And
so it's like Puppet Dog closing you a little bit or something. Right?
Well,
is that what's going on here, or what?
Come to find out, that's kind of what happened, right? They kind of bait and switched me a little bit, but nonetheless, it paid. I'm happy for it. They were very smart, and I appreciate them doing that. But yeah, so what really caught me was how much effort they're going to put into perpetuating the culture of Hawaii in a very true, authentic, and genuine way. And as they went through the program about how they're going to go about it, whether it be the flora, the fauna, the story, the art, the a bar where they're only going to speak Hawaiian language, and how they're building a hotel on the fabric. I mean, it was all very immersive into the culture, to a point where I'm like, man, this is going to be really hard to sustain. I've seen guys go down this route, and it's very difficult to sustain, especially in hard times. People start to pull back. And so, they said, we're committed, and, the people we've been talking to in the community. And so that was even more impressive. They actually were doing their research, their homework, and they dug deep into it. And I give them all the credit in the world, because they did pretty much everything they said they were going to do and more, and continue to do it and sustain their commitment to that culture and the perpetuation of the culture as a portal to share it with the rest of the world. And it's been an insanely successful resort ever since. And so I'm super blessed that I had the opportunity to, go to Disney and spend 15 years with them at Aulani and on the West Coast. So super grateful for the opportunity.
If you resonate with Greater Good Radio, please join our community at www.greatergoodradio.com, where you can get access to exclusive content and offerings. Hope to see you soon.